So the way it works is you came forth into this physical body, and in the moment that you came forth, you gained the perspective of your physical environment, but you also always have this larger perspective of source energy pulsing through you. And in the moment that you were born, those two perspectives began to give you vibrational feedback. The relationship between the source energy and the physical, how I'm focused in my physical realm energy, began giving feedback to one another, just like every guidance system in the world does. So now you've got these 2 points of vibrational relativity, the lover that you really are and the lover that you might be being in your moment, or the hater that you might be being in your moment. And when you are feeling the emotion that you call hatred or anger, what that means is you've got a very different point of view of whatever your object of attention is than the source within you. We know physical beings don't like to hear it when we say, the source within you loves your enemies, because you are so determined that you are justified in your not loving of them. But we want you to understand that when you are not loving someone that who you really are is loving, the problem that is caused by you, and the trouble comes to you, not to your enemy. We say to you, you've got to find a way to soften up your vibration on those renegades that have been betraying you and mistreating you, because even though by physical standards, even by non-physical standards, you are utterly justified in the way you feel about their seeming wrongdoing or about their betrayal of you, when you focus upon anyone in an attitude of anything that's less than the pure love that who you really are feels toward all life, you cause friction in your vibrational patterning, and it feels like negative emotion to you. And if you keep it up, you experience a stronger indication of the discord. So the first indication of vibrational discord, or resistance between who you really are and who you're being in the moment that you are focused, the first indication of the discord is negative emotion. The first indication of alignment is positive emotion. And of course, the range goes all the way from ecstasy to agony, doesn't it? In other words, there are the empowering emotions that feel like love and joy, and there are utterly disempowering emotions that feel like fear and revenge and despair, depression. But along all that range of emotions are your indications of your alignment or not so much with who you really are. So as you come to understand that, and then you do something so wise, you say, I'm going to begin guiding myself by how the thought, action, or word feels, not by what someone outside of me is proposing as appropriate action. In other words, when you get it, that you have this supreme guidance that is giving you feedback in every moment, and that everything that manifests in your life is nothing more than an indication of your vibrational countenance, then you can come to realize that if you've got manifestations happening that aren't pleasing you, you've got to change the vibration that is emanating from you, or the indicator can't change. When someone has cancer, of course they don't want it, but we want to say to you, it's just an indication of vibration. Change the vibration and the indication must change. But the reason people say, no, this cancer is deadly, no, this cancer is incurable, no, what I've got can't be fixed, the reason they say that is because so many are fixed on their patterns of thought, so most don't get over it, but all could. We tell doctors and scientists, when you start looking for vibrational roots, vibrational causes, instead of cures for diseases, now you really have something. But until you get to the vibrational reason, the disease will just squirt out in another way, and another way, and another way. Haven't you noticed? You get a cure, then you get 10 more diseases. Then you get a cure, then you get 10 more diseases. In other words, your resistance runs fast and furious in an environment where energy is moving so fast. You live at the leading edge of thought, where all thought that has ever been thought before is culminating and expressing further forward. This is the leading edge of that which you call source. And out here on the leading edge, energy moves fast because the billions of you who are here living and asking, and you do that, don't you? Life causes you to know what you don't want, which causes you to know what you do want. So life just causes you to ask and ask and ask and ask. And do you know, every time you ask, we're not just talking about with your words, every time you are in some situation where it is not as you want it to be, an asking emanates from you, and in the moment of that asking, source energy answers, lines up circumstances and events, and a rush of energy moves through a veritable vortex that creates worlds, opens. The energy moves quickly and instantaneously toward the fulfillment of everything you ask for. The question is, are you up to speed with that energy stream? And in these days, we want to say to you, because the stream is moving so fast, if you get a little out of alignment with it, the results show up pretty big and pretty fast, don't they? In other words, a car that's going 100 miles an hour, you're paying more attention than a car that's going 5 miles an hour. And a car that's going 100 miles an hour and hits a tree, much bigger problem than a car that's going 5 miles an hour and hits a tree. Well, friends, welcome to 100 mile an hour cars. In other words, this is the time of fast energy, which means this is the time of awakening. This is the time of figuring out what you're doing with the energy. You can't be sloppy with your thinking in an environment where energy is moving so fast. You got to pay attention to your thoughts. But that will make you crazy. Paying attention to your thoughts, monitoring thoughts. You can't even control your kids. Monitoring your thoughts is hopeless. So don't monitor your thoughts. Just put your ear to the ground for the way you feel. And set forth a determination that you want to feel good and that you're going to use the power of your mind, your ability to focus, to find better and better and better and better feeling thoughts. Now, many of you have come to that decision long ago. We heard your New Year's resolutions. Many of you are determined to think more deliberately, to be more deliberately, to focus more on things that you want. But the thing that is a little tricky about that is that when you're in the middle of something that you don't want, and you can't just put a sack over your head, you can't just withdraw from your work or withdraw from your relationship or send your children to a foster home. In other words, you can't just withdraw from where you are, and it has your attention. And what we want this gathering to help you come to a resolution about is that your now environment is going to have less of your attention, and where you're going and what you're wanting and how you're feeling is going to have more of your attention. We want you to realize that when something is happening and you feel strong negative emotion, that's not the time to try to find a bright, happy, fluffy thought, because law of attraction is not dealing those out to you right now. When your radio signal is set on 106, you can't hear what's being broadcast from 98.7. The frequencies are too far apart. Because what's been happening in your environment has you focused upon something gone wrong, you can't immediately focus upon my life is perfect in every way. Partly because you've been trained to face reality and to tell it like it is, but also because those frequencies are pretty far apart. We've noticed that if something's happened and you really feel despair, and one of your well-meaning friends comes in love and appreciation and tries to help you, all you do is justify more vehemently why you feel like you do. Their happiness just makes you feel even more like a failure. And their guidance just makes you feel even more like you'd like them to be dead. In other words, nothing's worse than to feel the opposite of who you are and how you want to feel, and have some bright-eyed, fluffy person flapping in your face about how you create your own reality. You want to say to them, I'm sure that's not true, or you would be gone from my experience. But when you understand that it's not your job, nor is it even possible to find a really good feeling thought from that bad feeling thought, if you're in despair, revenge feels pretty darn good, doesn't it? Now, many say, we're in the wrong seminar. Thought we were going to hear about love. We just want you to realize that you can't find love from revenge. The frequencies are too far apart. But you can find From despair, you can find revenge. And from revenge, you can find hatred. And from hatred, you can find anger. And from anger, you can find frustration. And from frustration, you can find hope. And from hope, you can find just about anything that you want. But there are some steps along the way. And we think that the reason so many people have given up on any awareness of what their emotions are telling them is because they have not understood the frequency of emotion. Everything that manifests in your life or anybody else's life that you are observing, everything that manifests is nothing more than, and we don't mean to diminish it because it's wonderful what's going on here, but nothing more than the indication of your vibrational countenance. It's an indicator. Manifestations are indicators of what you've been doing vibrationally, period. So if wonderful things are happening, you've got good indications of the good vibrations you've been offering. If things have been out of control in your life, then you've got manifestations that are indications of what you've been offering vibrationally. You don't go to your gas station when your gauge is on empty and lay your head on the steering wheel in utter despair. Oh, look what I've come to. I'd hoped it would last longer. I just couldn't keep it up. It's an indicator, and you know it's only an indicator, so you don't paste a happy face sticker over it because it's depressing to see it. And you don't usually wait until you're completely out of gas and stranded on the side of the road. You fill it up, don't you? You fill it up, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about letting your indicator let you know what your habit of thought has been, and if you're feeling pretty crummy lately, then it's time for a fill-up. If things are sort of not going the way you want them to, it's time to tune up your thoughts. It's time to offer some more deliberate thought. It's time to seek a better attitude. It's time to become more cheerful. But again, we want to say to you, if you're depressed and someone's saying it's time to get more cheerful, we don't really mean it. If you're depressed, what we really want to say to you, it's time for revenge. And we mean that in the nicest way. We want you to realize that it's like you take your rubber raft down to the river's edge, and you, as humans, invariably will turn it upstream and start paddling very hard. And we say, if we were in your rubber raft, we would go with the current. We wouldn't fight the current. And you say, but we must be virtuous. Struggle and hard work, that's what we honor here. Those are the people for whom we make monuments and plaques and really big headstones. And we want you to understand that nothing that you want is upstream. And that every bit of struggle and consternation and determination, all that, I'm going to heal myself, I'm going to make it better, all of that has you focused upstream. We want you to feel the ease of letting go of the struggle. You don't even have to turn your boat around in the stream and begin paddling downstream. Just let go of the oars. The current will turn you. So this workshop really is not about teaching you to go with the stream because you have no choice. You are eternal beings, and who you are has been set into motion for a very long time. This seminar is about asking the question and helping you answer it. Are you going willingly? Are you going toward your natural unfolding willingly? And every time you're mad at somebody, you're going, but you're not going willingly. When you're loving, you're going, and you're going willingly. And you can feel the difference, can't you?